various groups around Nigeria have been endorsing one presidential candidate or the other as the 2023 general elections draw nearer, when the pan-Yoruba socio-political organizations, Afenifere, made their public support for former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi, it came as a surprise to many. However, the group stood by its decision and reiterated their support for the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. In the forthcoming 2023 elections, the group was reacting to a statement credited to Ondo State Governor Mr. Rotimi Akeredolu that Afenifere doesn't speak for the Yoruba people on the endorsement of Obi, in the quote. This is concerned in a statement issued by the Secretary General of Afenifere, Chief Shola Ebisheni, on Monday. The association in the statement said its decision to support Peter Obi for presidency was a corporate decision of members of the group and a decision of some socio-cultural organizations in the country. So joining us on the show as we discuss the group's endorsement of Peter Obi's Chief Shola Ebisheni, Secretary General of Afenifere. Welcome to the morning show. Good. I got Ebisheni?
Ebisheni, yes.
Ebisheni, okay.
That's good.
Good. Let's go straight to it.
Yes.
Governor Akeredolu is saying Afenifere doesn't speak for the Yoruba people. But Afenifere has made a bold move by supporting Peter Obi in line with his mandate for Igbo presidency. And that's the argument of the Afenifere. What's your take on this?
Well, thank you very much, Rufai. The Afenifere is not just a social cultural organization or a social club of the Yoruba people. It's a social political organization, and its history is rooted in the Awolowo school of thought, and it centers on the issue of how best to govern Nigeria as a country of entrenched ethnic nationalities. In recent times, Afenifere have been talking so much about restructuring until so many people are coming to terms with the reality that Nigerian polity needs to be restructured. If I take you back a little bit in history, before Nigeria's independence, so many groups, so many organizations had their own different views about how Nigeria should be run. Afenifere came up boldly. It started with Egbe Omoduduwa and later snowballed into action group led by Obafemi Awolowo. In 1947, Awolowo already wrote a book, Path to Nigerian Freedom, and enunciated the principles of federalism as the best way to govern a nation of entrenched ethnic nationalities. They are not just entrenched ethnic nationalities, they are nations on their own which were amalgamated or clubbed together by the British. Then how do we go on? So when it is difficult for people to take decisions, Afenifere has always taken very hard decisions. We took it in 1951, thereabout, when Action Group, which is the English name for Afenifere, insisted that Nigeria could better be governed as a federal state. At the end of the day, everybody came to terms with it. At another point in our history, when Afenifere felt injustice was being done, and after the 1993 presidential election won by Abiola, Afenifere created NADECO and brought other Nigerians. The Nigerian state was brought almost to its knees to understand the fact that this country can only be ruled in justice. And so the Nigerian states today have been divided and zoned into a six-state structure and fairly representative of the different ethnic nationalities in Nigeria. The first decision Afenifere took, which is restructuring. What is restructuring? Restructuring is a means to an end. And what is the end? That we have a country where every group will have a sense of belonging. And in doing so, even the political parties themselves, from 1999 till now, have brought about this zoning structure where the North has it, it goes to the South. Yes.
So, Mr. Ebisheni.
Yes.
You were.
Yes. So at a point, the Awolowo school of thought, the opinions of the group, has snowballed into becoming the opinion of the Yoruba people. We do not go out to say, this is the position, this should be the view of Yoruba people. We're saying that our group is a group that believes in justice and that believes in equity. And I will take it from here. Governor Akredolu, incidentally, is my governor. I'm from Ondo State. And we have I personally have a lot of respect for him. The way he has led the Southern Governors Forum and his very vocal views on national issues that has to do with true federalism. For instance, from the point of view of when the debate was going on open grazing, when the debate was going on state police and all of that, he was able to stamp his feet, notwithstanding the fact that he is elected on the same platform with the federal government. We have a lot of respect for him, and we took it from there. What Afenifere is doing is not different from what the political parties themselves have enunciated. It is a political party that says the presidency of Nigeria should rotate between the south and the north. He came from Obasanjo to Yaradua, from Yaradua to Jonathan, from Jonathan back to Buhari. And the governors met in February under the leadership of Akredolu in Asaba and say, for equity's sake, the next president of Nigeria must come from the south. And on the 30th of May, that same year, 2021, the Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum, of which Afenifere is one, and Chief Edwin Clark is the leader, deputized by the Afenifere leader, Chief Ayu Adebanjo, we addressed what they said. We even went further to advise people of the South, politicians from the South, not to accept the position of vice president or the national chairman of any political party that will seek to undermine the decision that the next president of Nigeria should come from the South. And we went on like that. It took Afenifere more than a year of rigorous debates. And if I want to mention, the first time it happened in our meeting was 29th of July 2021, when one of the very respected Nigerian of Yoruba extraction, Senator, that's our senator from Ogun State, who midwifed the 2014 National Conference, Senator Okuromu. And he came to Afenifere and said, look, we must start the process of deciding what our position will be. I just want to learn, sorry, doctor. What I'm saying is that once that decision is taken, it was a rigorous debate for over a year. But you see, equity is an unruly horse. When you mount it, you don't disembark midway. It takes you to the very last, which is justice. So the same principle that precludes the North from still having the presidency after 8 years of Buhari is the same that precludes any group of the South from having it when there is still another group that has not had it. So it was based on principles of justice.
Mr. Adishani,
yes.
This point about principle
is
well known.
Yes.
About North-South.
Yes.
Even about religion.
Yes.
But there are some persons who say that the position that Afenifere has taken is an anti-Tinubu position.
Wow.
Perhaps because of beliefs about his antecedents, relationship with the Yoruba establishment over the years. And you know that Yoruba saying, they say, this time around, Afenifere, which is supposed to be a socio-political interest group for Yorubas, is running away from that proverb, notorious proverb. That even if your child's waist is misshapen, yes, you don't carry beads and put on another person's child's waist. Right. Okay? Yeah. I don't want to speak Yoruba, so yes, that I don't miss it. But you get the message.
I got it.
But this time around, Afenifere is openly saying we will support another person's child.
Yes. Well,
can you comment on that?
All right. To start first from your proverb, you look at the waist of your child is befitting of a bead. But the bead you will put on that waist cannot be another person's bead. It has to be your own bead, that which you have. So the Nigerian presidency is not a personal bid of the Yoruba. It is of every Nigerian. So if it is the turn of the Yoruba to have that bid on the waist of their child, Afenifere will fight it. We did it during Adeko. Not just because Abiola was a Yoruba man, but because we thought that was justice. Come to think of it, how will anybody have any misgiving about Asiwaju in the Afenifere? He is a member of the Afenifere, for crying out loud, and is one of the most respected Nigerian of Yoruba extraction. And going forward, he too is a product of the Afenifere. At the time, you know what happened in Lagos. Even the leader of Afenifere in Lagos then, Ganiu Daudu, might not support his candidature as a gubernatorial candidate of the Alliance for Democracy, which was an Afenifere political party then. But there are reasons, based on the same antecedents of his that you said, in terms of the roles he played, where Afenifere said, look, he deserves it more. So it has nothing to do with personality. It is, as a matter of fact, an issue of peace in the federation. That comes first. Before, let me tell you, Afenifere is not an apolitical organization. You have the leaders of Afenifere that you refer to are people in their late 80s or in their 90s who are not longer bothered about wanting to be members of political parties here and there. Yet within Afenifere, you find people, Afenifere is constituted by seasoned politicians. And I'm sure you know this, Doctor. Seasoned politicians. Many of them still BOT members of political parties, former governors, former deputy governors, former, in fact, serving people. I'm a politician myself. I won't deny that. But the Nigerian state, the peace of Nigerian state comes first. And mark you, for some time people will come and say, oh yes, I've heard people say Chief Ayo Adebanjo was speaking for himself. He was not speaking for Afenifere. That is not correct. For this, the decision taken by Afenifere took us more than a whole year. Sometimes rancorous, most time rigorous. And we do not even claim that, oh, it's a unanimous decision. Do you ever have any unanimous political decision? There are times when we said we were going federal in 1951, not every member of the Afenifere bought it. During Adeko, when Afenifere was championing the Abiola's position, some leaders of Afenifere were in Abacha's government. That did not stop Afenifere from taking a corporate decision. In this one too, it might not be a unanimous, but it's a corporate decision taken after a long, over 1 year meeting. There is no animosity of any type. There's none. It was based on principle. And let me tell you this. If you look at the trajectory since 1999, the presidency of Nigeria was almost becoming a matter for one side of the north and one side of the south. What Afenifere insists on is a nation where every group will have genuine sense of belonging. Genuine sense of belonging. And we do feel and convinced that power must come to the south, and when it gets to the south this time around, whatever stops the north from having it after 8 years should stop any of the zones in the south from cornering it. That is exactly what we are saying.
Well, on that note, Mr. Shala Bishene, we would like to thank you very much
You're welcome.
for joining us on The Morning Show.
Thank you.